everyone, this is ICO Talk. My name is Yelena. Today my guest is Peter Fedchenkov, founder of INS. Good afternoon, Peter. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Yelena.
So first of all, will you please tell us a few words about the project? What is it all about and how it works?
Sure. So we've been in the grocery space for the last 4 years, having founded Instamart, which is the largest venture-backed grocery delivery company in Russia. And as part of this, we've been talking a lot to grocery manufacturers, from small farmers to the multinational companies like Unilever, Procter & Gamble, and others. And we figured out that manufacturers want to sell directly to consumers and they want to market their goods directly to consumers, but they currently have no opportunities to do so because retailers and wholesalers control the grocery supply chain. And we started thinking about the problem and figured out that blockchain is a viable solution to connect grocery manufacturers directly with consumers in terms of fulfillment as well as in terms of marketing. And this is what INS is about.
What will be the main advantages for consumers and for manufacturers?
So for consumers, the grocery price will be cheaper because today the supply chain is highly inefficient. According to a study by the United Nations, about a third of food is being spoiled throughout the supply chain. And in the United States alone, 1,500 miles is the farm-to-plate distance, which tells you something about the inefficiency of the supply chain. And who pays for this? Us as consumers. So we want to make the supply chain more efficient, and we want the consumers to benefit as the result. What manufacturers get is the direct connection with consumers, because currently retailers ring-fence manufacturers and consumers, and manufacturers have no ways to market their goods except for bombarding you with TV advertisement or doing some in-store promotions. And we want manufacturers to run bespoke loyalty programs powered by smart contracts. And this is where the INS token comes into play.
Yes, will you please speak a little bit in more details about the role of blockchain and the place of blockchain in this technology?
Sure. So blockchain is an exciting technology and it gives us a number of advantages across industries. But what we are really focused on with INS is the distributed ledger. So currently in the grocery space, you have a number of counterparties throughout the supply chain: manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers, and then end consumers. And you also have logistics providers in between. And each of them have their own databases. They have huge back office operations to figure out where the goods currently are, who paid for them. And I'm not even talking about recording of the conditions under which the groceries are being stored. So with blockchain, we can create a single database where with data transparent for everyone. We can save on back office, and we can make the grocery chain to be shorter and more efficient, and the velocity of it will increase. And this leads to enormous savings in the grocery industry. And in grocery, even 0.5% savings transforms into a huge number given the low margins of the industry. And may I remind that we are talking about one of the largest consumer markets in the world, worth $8.5 trillion globally.
$8.5 trillion. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And do you have any competitors on this market? And if there are any, what are your main differences and what are your main advantages over them?
So we've been in this market, as I mentioned, for more than 4 years, and we've visited a bunch of cryptocurrency conferences recently, including Coin Agenda in Las Vegas and the World Blockchain Forum in London, and we haven't seen anyone who is doing something exactly like INS. However, we've seen a lot of interest for blockchain from the likes of Walmart and Nestle. And there's been recently a news article about Walmart, Nestle, and others partnering with IBM in terms of a blockchain that would enable them to trace the origins of food. And this is something we definitely support, and this is good for the consumers, but they're approaching this problem from a different angle. What we are trying to do is we are making the grocery chain, supply chain more efficient and cheaper for everyone. There is also an interesting project called Ambrosus, and they're doing similar what IBM and Walmart do. They focus on the origin of food and tracing. In case, for example, there's some contamination in the food, with blockchain, they can trace it in 2 minutes. Without the blockchain, it takes up to 20 days to figure out which farm the food comes from.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I get it. Okay, let's now speak a little bit about the ICO. First of all, what is the hard cap? And secondly, what for do you need this particular sum?
So our target is roughly $30 million. It's 100,000 ethers. And our hard cap is 150,000 ethers, which is roughly $45 million, depending on the ether exchange rate. And we are trying to make a huge difference in one of the largest consumer markets. So we'll definitely invest a lot in marketing and in business development, because what we are building is a three-sided marketplace with grocery manufacturers, consumers, and also third-party fulfillment providers to do the box moving. So we will be investing a lot in marketing, in business development, in building the ecosystem and the IT platform. And we have a dedicated team of blockchain developers, which is pretty rare these days for crypto projects, since many people are using outsourced companies. Mm-hmm. So and we're also leveraging 4.5 years in the grocery space that we currently have.
Okay, do you have a pre-ICO?
We are currently in our private pre-sale. It's open to institutional investors, including funds and wealthy individuals.
How much did you get?
We already have $3 million of commitments, and it just started. So it's a very good sign. And so far, we've got overwhelmingly positive feedback on the INS idea and the team and the advisors. We have, I think, one of the strongest advisors team on the market. And our ICO starts on November 27th and will last until the end of December.
Okay. And now please in more details about the tokens. What are the key benefits for your token holders?
Sure. So as I briefly touched upon, the INS token is the only source of reward in the loyalty program that we are building for brands. And let me take a quick pause here to explain what this is. Mm-hmm. So in the consumer packaged goods industry, 24% of costs is marketing. It's huge, especially given the size of the whole grocery industry. Mm-hmm. And as we already discussed today, manufacturers currently don't have a way to do any personalized and targeted marketing. And what we enable them to do is to run bespoke loyalty programs powered by smart contracts. They could code in any logic they want in the smart contract, and whenever the consumer fulfills the conditions, he or she gets a prize, which is INS tokens. Mm-hmm. So you can think about it as an airline miles program, but targeted, personalized, and also cheaper to run. And this is an INS token is an essential part of this. And whenever you get an INS token, you could then either sell it at an exchange or continue buying groceries on our platform. So this is an additional benefit for consumers, and this is a way for manufacturers to reward their loyal audience directly, as opposed to sponsoring TV programs. Okay. And it's purely a utility token. And the benefits for the token holders, we give pretty good discounts at the start of ICO and obviously during the pre-round. And given that the supply of the token is fixed and final, there is no mining, there is no burning, it's pre-mined. We are very much focused on creating demand for the token, and the most demand will come from manufacturers. In fact, we have already signed memorandum of understanding with some of the largest manufacturers in the world, including Unilever, Valeo, Reckitt Benckiser, and the likes. And these are and Mars as well. So you might recognize some of the largest names in the industry, and they will be buying INS token to reward their customers. And this is what creates demand for the token with a fixed supply. We believe this will be a very successful model.
That's amazing. Yeah, great. Okay, and if you don't get enough, what will happen with the project? Do you have any other sources of financing, say?
we were more than confident that we'll reach our minimum target and even beyond, based on the progress we see so far and based on the growing commitments from investors. And the more we get, the faster we roll out the platform in more cities. And the minimum amount we set will enable us at least to build the platform and to roll it out in 1 or 2 cities in the world. But we want to do more, and the faster we roll out the platform, the more demand there is for tokens, and the better it is for our token holders.
And from what cities will you start, actually?
So we're currently thinking about our pilot city. It might be Moscow, where we have a lot of operating experience. It might be somewhere else. But the idea is that we're building a platform and not an application. We want anyone in the world to be able to connect on this platform and act as an intermediary between manufacturers and consumers. And there are a lot of warehouse and delivery fleet providers who'd be happy to do this. And you don't need retailers or wholesalers, who are way more expensive organizations to run. So this is similar to Uber or Airbnb, that basically utilizes the existing inventory of either cars or apartments and just saves us a lot of money and hassle. We're doing the same in the grocery space. We believe that retailers or wholesalers do not need to stand in between us consumers and grocery manufacturers.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see. And now please a few words about the team and the advisory board of the project.
Sure. As I mentioned, we have more than 4 years of operating experience in the grocery space. So this is not a theoretical project. This is a project that we see a huge demand for from manufacturer side. And as I already mentioned, we got some confirmed interest from manufacturers already. We have a bunch of teams based in Moscow. We have people in the United States who are responsible for the US expansion. We have people in India. We have people in Luxembourg. So we are building a global project, and I'm founder of INS. And besides my experience in the grocery space, I have MBA from Harvard Business School, and we actually have 3 Harvard Business School MBAs in our team. And we have great tech and retail experience with people coming from a bunch of companies, from IBM, General Electric. We have experience with Instamart here in Moscow, and we have solid financial experience, having worked in Goldman Sachs, Rothschild, and other organizations. And we're extremely proud of our advisory team. It includes Ayal Herzog, co-founder of Bancor, Michael Turpin from Beat Angels and founder of the Coin Agenda Conference, David Washman from Washman PR, the largest crypto PR agency based in New York, Professor Ravi Abdelal from Harvard Business School, Sebastian Stupurak from Wings, Mo Levin, the organizer of World Blockchain Forum in London, Dmitry Filatov from ICO Rating and ICO Shark, and last but not least, Ilya Perikopsky, who recently ran a very successful ICO of Black Moon Crypto.
Okay, I see. And what do you personally think about the future of the ICO market in the world?
We're big believers that ICO is a permanent trend. It provides entrepreneurs with new opportunities to raise funds, and especially the crypto entrepreneurs. And it provides investors an extremely new way of investing and also being part of the projects. Because before we used to have stockholders and bond or debt holders. Now we have token holders, and it's a new class of investors and of people who have a say in the project. And I believe it's a very exciting time in the industry. Probably the regulatory landscape might change, and it's sort of unpredictable to say how exactly it will turn out to be. But we see so much interest from both sides, and we're just excited to be part of it.
Okay, so and just to sum it up, in 1 or 2 sentences, in very brief, why shall I invest in your project?
So our project is a real business. We have 4.5 year experience in the grocery space, and we know this industry intimately. have confirmed interest from some of the largest grocery manufacturers in the world, including Unilever and Mars. They have an A-class team with industry experience and global outreach. We have A-class advisor team with some of the most respected people in the industry. Have a blockchain developers team, and we are operating in one of the largest markets in the world that is just asking for innovation, and it hasn't changed since early 20th century, and where blockchain could make a huge difference.
Okay, so then, Peter, thank you so much for this interview and for being with us.
Thank you, Elena. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, and I remind you that today my guest was Peter Fedchenkov, a founder of INS. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch more interesting videos. Bye-bye.